Hey everybody, it's Lance Dawson. I am back in the studio with my number one amigo, Andrew Stewart, and we're both here with Backstage Lowdown. This week, we got 5440 in the studio, specifically Dave Genn. Anyway, we're going to talk all things 5440. We're going to talk about the new album, Porto, which drops January 23rd. And so if you're into one of Canada's most successful rock bands, 5440, this episode is for you. But before we hit the studio and talk to Dave, I want to tell you one thing. This episode is sponsored by Look Digital Marketing. From stunning websites to full service digital marketing, they help your business shine online. See the difference with Look Digital Marketing. Visit lookmarketing.ca today. Take a look at Andrew now. Take a look at him after Look Digital Marketing. Remarkable difference. Anyway, we're in the studio. 5440, David Genn, here we go. There we go. Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Hi, Lance.
All right. Sorry about the confusion, buddy.
That's all right. I don't know what was going on with my link either.
All right. Well, at least we're all here now. So welcome to Backstage Lowdown. Have I missed anything?
We were talking about the weather and how much your weather sucks.
Yeah, our weather does suck.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it doesn't sound very Canadian, but
it's what we complain about.
Yeah. You know what? More Canadians talk about the weather. Like we're known for it. People go in Australia, we're always talking about the weather. Nobody else does. Weird.
Yeah, well, if you live in California, there's nothing to talk about if you're going to talk about the weather because it's the same every day.
That's true. Where are you right now?
I'm in Vancouver.
Oh, okay. Nice. I know we're supposed to talk about this really cool new album, but damn, there's a lot of nice guitars there to talk about. I don't know. This is going to be really hard. I'm going to try to be very professional.
Is this a guitar podcast?
It
sometimes leans in that direction. Yeah.
Mostly Andrew's fault, but yeah.
I gotta be honest. So I've only been playing for like a year, so yeah. I'm very new to guitar. But Lance, he often strays off topic.
Well, once you get addicted to tone and then you get into this vintage guitar stuff, and
it's already a problem.
Yeah, it's a never ending. Okay, so let's just briefly, I promise everybody we are going to talk about 5440. We're going to talk about the hot new album that's coming your way. They're probably going to tour behind it. There's lots to talk about. Dave, walk me through this. So I had a J-45. There's a Martin to your left. There's a Gibson J-200. Walk me through it. That's all I'm seeing. And then there's some other stuff there.
Yeah, so that's a 1952 Gibson J-45.
Nice.
And a 1966 Martin D21. And then beside that, that's a 77 Guild F412. So it's a 12 string.
Oh, nice. For those not in the know, like, because most people will listen to and they're like, yo, I think I know Gibson and I think I know Martin, but Guild is a fantastic guitar company, and the stuff they had in the 60s and 70s are awesome. I was chasing down an F40.
Particularly their 12 strings are great.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. I've got a 57 J-45, and they're just like the workhorse, right? Like that's the go-to. Nice. What's your favorite one? You're on stage. What's your go-to?
Well, they're all my children.
I can't choose one.
Not a fair question.
The guitars I played live are a 66 Strat and a 66 Gibson Trini Lopez.
Oh, nice.
So those are the two main stage guitars. If we're playing closer to home, I might bring another guitar out or two with me.
Right.
But when we're traveling around, I travel with those two guitars.
Okay. So Dave, I'm going to ask you this question because I'm just trying to actually get more evidence behind my own opinion on this, so it's a loaded question, because in a lot of guitar forums people always talk about, hey, would you spend more money on the guitar or spend more money on the amplifier? To me, this is a non sequitur. It's the amplifier, because if you're a good guitar player, you can make a shitty guitar sound pretty good, but if you amplify that through like an AM radio, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah,
Or are you in the other side of it? And then also I'm going to ask you what amplifier you're playing your Strat through.
right. So, I mean, I've been playing the same amplifier, the exact same amplifier since 1989. It's a Mesa Boogie Mark IV.
Okay, nice.
And I've actually got one in the West Coast here that is my original amp that I've had since the 80s. And then I have another one that we keep out east in Ontario. We have a whole backline in Ontario and a whole backline in Vancouver.
Makes sense.
So that's been my live amp with all the bands I've ever played in throughout my career. I've got 10 other amps that I use in the studio in various forms, but that's always been my workhorse uh, on the road.
The go-tos.
Um, so, and a lot of times, you fly into amplifiers. Like if we
Right.
play on the prairies or if we play in the Maritimes, we're flying into rentals.
Yep.
You're not always getting the model
Yep.
you want. If you got a wish list, maybe I'm getting my fourth option on a gig or something like that. But we always fly with our guitars.
Okay.
So that might tell you something about
Yeah.
Right.
the priority. Not
No,
leaving my
fair enough.
guitars at home and flying with an amplifier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. Although I might be less nervous having my amplifier in on a road case going up a ramp into an airplane versus my guitars. I think I might have a slight heart attack about that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we've had some mishaps with guitars and airlines. I've had broken headstocks, and there was one point our backline got left. There was a freak thunderstorm at YYZ,
Hmm.
and uh, all the crew lightning was flashing, so all the ground crew had to get off the tarmac, and our gear was left out in the pouring rain with no tarp. So when we opened the cases were all wet. There's a bunch of water damage. The thing is that I used to take newer reissue guitars out on the road with me and keep my vintage babies at home.
Hmm.
Sure.
And then as I got into middle age, I was like, well, I mean, how much longer are you going to live? How much
I,
longer are you going to do this?
I want to
Like,
play. I want to
yeah,
play
Yeah.
play
them.
the like even if the gig is shit, or if it's disappointing in some form in the PA or the venue or the crowd or whatever it is, at least you're playing really great gear that's inspiring.
Yeah.
Um, and Neil plays a 57 Esquire, like it's an incredible guitar, right?
Wow.
And like we're all playing vintage guitars up there because no matter what, we're going to be inspired by the instrument in our hand.
Right.
Right.
In
Yeah,
the
no,
in the
I would agree with that.
So with the
um
recording of the new album,
yeah.
when you guys go in, do you take every single guitar that you own
Yeah, that's
for?
a good question. So, I mean, we do records all different ways.
Hmm.
Um, for instance, the previous record we made, West Coast Band, we made during COVID lockdown. So we essentially made it without ever playing in the room as a band. We
That's
sent files.
crazy. Yeah.
Neil has a studio at his place on Gabriola Island. I have a studio here, and in a case like that, then yes, I have access to all my amplifiers and all my gear and all my keyboards, and it's an embarrassment of riches. This new record, Porto, we went over to Portugal and we
Yeah.
flew with one bass. I took two guitars. Neil took two guitars. One was an acoustic, and he took a little Supro amp as well. And we did it with minimal gear, what the studio had. Now the studio had some good backline, and I played through a 1955 Fender Deluxe Tweed Deluxe amplifier, which is a dream amplifier. But I did the whole
Nice.
record, solos included, with one amp
Yeah,
and two guitars.
that's great. I mean,
Yeah, when you're
I don't know. I'm still in shock and sadness about the tarmac story. So continue, talk amongst yourselves.
well, I mean,
You're just gonna cry, Lance, for a little bit.
You have no idea, like what kind of, ground crew just doesn't throw a tarp. Ah, I can't even
well, they
talk about
couldn't.
it.
They got the message to get off the tarmac, and it was the thing is that we've had gear stolen, we've had gear wrecked. when you take the risk of going on the road with musical instruments, there's always the chance they're going to get stolen, they're going to get lost, they're going to get broken. That it happens.
Yeah.
So once you accept it, it's less painful. We had our gear, we had our 7 live guitars stolen the night before a Commodore show. I guess it was about 7 or 8 years ago. And I got the phone call the morning of the show. The van was broken into last night and the guitars were stolen. We had a new roadie and he had left the gear in the van overnight, which is a no-no.
Yeah. I was going to say, I didn't want to
For any
ask, saying, like,
roadies listening.
why were your guitars in the van?
He's not our guy anymore. Anyway, when I got the news, I didn't react with anger or shock. It was sadness, but it's kind of inevitable sadness. If you've been in the business as long as we have, you're going to lose some gear over there. You're just going to lose gear. It just happens. The interesting thing about it was, I immediately started panicking to round up gear for the show that night, the guitars I wanted to play amongst calling friends or whatever. And Alan, our manager, said, I guess we should put a Facebook post out or whatever in case like somebody, and it became a national news story within hours. CBC was coming to sound check. I was like, well, we should have gotten our shit stolen years ago. Look at all the press we're doing. This is a major national news story.
Yeah.
And
the roadie should have just taken the stuff.
And as a result, we had 5 of the 7 guitars back in 48 hours.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome. Did the thieves return them or other people?
No, a guy who owns a storage facility out in Surrey. He was driving and he heard that we'd had our guitars stolen at the night before. He heard it on national radio, and he remembered that somebody had come in and rented a locker at 2 a.m. So we went and he looked at the closed circuit TV and he saw them moving in rogue cased guitars with 5440 on the side of them. Called the cops. Yeah. And then 2 of them, like the newer acoustic guitars, they were not with the 5 vintage guitars that were cased.
Right.
And those guitars, they disappeared. We got the 5 vintage guitars back, but the 2 newer acoustics disappeared. And one came back after a year. And one is still out there somewhere.
Wow.
That's crazy. Those are sad stories. I do agree with you, though. I mean, honestly, even those of us that play, like we're all just renting these guitars anyway, right? Like we don't get to take them with us. So, I was of the same ilk. I was, you have a few nice guitars. I don't have as many as you do, Dave, but I've, nice amps or whatever. But I remember Mark Stutman, who owns Folkway Music here in town, is the vintage store, and is a good friend. And he called me one time because I guess the vintage market had spiked, and a few years earlier I had bought a 58 Deluxe Tweed amp, and he phoned just to tell me, he goes, "Do you know how much that's worth now?" And I'm like, "Don't tell me, because I gig with this amp. Like if you tell me, I'll never let it
leave the house.
Right? Yeah. I'm not 5440. I shouldn't be playing some of this stuff. I get it. This is ridiculous. But to your point, Dave, they're meant to be played, right? You can't just none of us, these guys that put them.
I also love the idea that it had a life before its life with me. Yeah. And it'll have life after I'm gone. Exactly. I had a fan I'd never met, contact me and say, that her mom had just passed and she left a storage locker to her, and there's a couple of guitars in there. And I don't know anything about guitars. And I said, well, send me some photos. And one of the guitars, I'd never seen anything like it. It was like this weird color. It was completely beat up. And she said, yeah, it belonged to my mom's husband. He's in the BC Country Hall of Fame. He was a country performer in the 80s. So I do a little research on him, and he was an established country performer here. He played every Legion and dive bar barn dance in the entire province for 50 years. And I said, that's a really interesting guitar. Why don't you bring, she said, I'm coming to a gig. I said, why don't you bring it? So she brought it to the gig and I'm like, oh my God, this is a 1970 Telecaster that's got so much smoke damage that it's turned this sort of really red color.
Okay.
Yeah.
I plugged it in. It was a throw and go, so there was no sound check. We were just like, we put the amps and you run
Right.
on stage. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
went up in between bands, plugged the amp, played. I said, "Oh man, this sounds great." I bought it off her on the spot.
Wow.
And the name of the performer is Denny Eddy. Was the name of the guy who owned it beforehand. And you can find videos of him all over the place playing it. Photos. I've got photos of him
Oh, I'm
playing
gonna
it
have
in
to
the early
check it
70s.
out.
Wow.
And the guitar, of course, is named Denny now.
Yeah. And so you still have it, obviously.
Oh yeah,
77 Telecaster. That's great.
It's a 1970. I had a
Or 70,
1960.
sorry.
I actually traded it with my buddy for something else because this Telly just sounds better.
Yeah. Wow.
That's very cool.
That's very cool. That's awesome. Guitars have such a just an interesting history, and you're right, and then they'll have a life after ours. I often come home. This is sad. My 24-year-old son, I've caught him. I go downstairs and he's like standing in front of my guitars and amps with a calculator. He's like, "You're not going to last forever, old man. How much is this thing worth?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, this
Yeah.
is horrible."
Yeah.
So that's
I
what
remember
I'm living with.
when we had our kids. You have kids and you think, oh my God, I guess I need a will,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Once you have kids, so you never really think about a will until you have kids, right? So yeah,
Right.
we had kids and I said, okay, my wife and I start doing the will, and I go, like I'd really like to leave Neil my Strat, and my buddy Brad that I grew up with, like he should really get my wife's like, what the hell are you talking about? If you die and leave me here, I need every penny you have on the wall there. You're not
giving them
your
away.
Strat.
They've got
You're
their
leaving,
own.
you're leaving me with what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's
See, but
awesome.
then there's a bit of a catch-22 on this too, because I started by saying, to my wife Kim, said, "Kim, come on, how much could this beat up piece of crap Gibson be worth? Look at it. It's all beat up and scratched and stuff." So I'm afraid she's gonna believe me after I die and not know, "Oh, that's a 57 J-45. You should not give that away."
Well, all you got to do is tell her this is what I paid for it, and this is what it's worth now.
Yes.
And by
There you
that
go.
point, you're gone anyway, and there's nothing else that she can do to you.
Oh, you know what? This is I'll leave it up to you to decide whether it's a funny story. But anyway, I was talking to my son about the comedian Anthony Jeselnik. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but he's pretty dark and he's pretty quick-witted. It's great. So my son Gray said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, like he has this joke and he talks about he's not very good with kids. He's not good with kids. Like last weekend, I dropped my cousin's kid and everybody got upset with me. But in my defense, who would ask me to be a pallbearer?" So that's his dark joke, right?
Right?
And my son Gray goes, "I don't get it. What's a pallbearer?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, you haven't been to a lot of funerals. A
Yeah.
pallbearer is somebody who carries your casket. So if I die, you might be my pallbearer." This is what he said. He didn't even take a breath. He goes, "Dad, I can't be your pallbearer. My hands are going to be filled with guitars for sale." That's cold, man.
That is.
I was
Ain't
in
love grand?
Yeah, I was at once I was proud
kid.
and sad all at the same time. Okay, enough about that crap. And great guitars. I love it, but I also love 5440. Tell us about Porto. Tell us how, like, who did all the writing? Was it a group effort, and why Portugal? How did that all come to fruition?
Yeah, Neil had a big birthday last year, and he said, "I want my gold watch." And my gold watch comes in the form of, when I hit that big day, I want to be somewhere interesting or exotic recording the new record.
Mm.
And this was really, he got very focused on it and wrote a batch of songs in a couple of week period. They all just sort of flowed out of him. We went over to his studio on Gabriel Island, which is an incredible spot, and we demoed the songs very quickly over a period of a few days. And then we proceeded over the next 9 months to play the songs live. So all the new songs made their way into the set. before they were even recorded, to try out and to gauge audience reaction, see what works, see what doesn't work in a live format. We chose Warren Livesey to produce, who's a producer who worked with the band before.
Yeah.
And a very good friend of ours. And he came out to Vancouver and we did an intensive week of pre-production. So really stripping the songs down, putting them back together, checking that all the parts and arrangements are right. So then when we got to Portugal, we were very well rehearsed. We knew what we were doing. We could just set up, get great sound, and then execute off the floor, as they say.
Yeah.
And that's the way that we, we worked so fast in this environment where, you're away from home, the responsibilities of family and home life. You can concentrate entirely on the record. And I was amazed at how fast we moved. I mean, in 12 recording days in Portugal, we got all the drums, all the bass, all the guitars, including the solos, most of the keyboards, and all the lead vocals.
Wow.
And I was saying to Warren, like, I haven't moved that fast on a record since the early 90s, when I was sneaking into studios overnight and stealing time and extend sessions. So it was a very, very exciting and fruitful process to do a record in that fashion.
Do you think that had something to do with your dedication, as to be that you're actually willing to go out and play them on the road to get the audience reaction, and to actually start to see how those demos were going to change from day one to the point that they're actually recorded?
The previous record we'd made had been in during COVID lockdown.
Yep.
So we're sending files, and it took us, we're sending files back and forth. We took our time. There's no deadline. There's no clock. It took us a long time. And part of the process with 5440, because we've been a band so long, is to change up the way we do things from record to record, change producers, change locations, change studios, and change approach. So this approach was very much like, let's write a riff rock record, get really good at playing it, and then record it off the floor like rock bands used to, back before Pro Tools was invented.
Yeah.
And I mean, it shows. It's got a sort of an immediacy and a spirit to it that feels like a band rocking in a room. I was going to say, the reason why Portugal was chosen is because Neil did an incredible amount of research. He must have emailed 35 or 40 studios all over the world, in all sorts of different locations, asking about gear lists and availabilities and rates. And he found this studio in Portugal that was outfitted with vintage Neve desk and great outboard gear, great backline, great amps, in a really interesting city. And it was incredibly inexpensive, like shockingly inexpensive. I looked at the price. I was like, this can't be real. What's going on? What's the racket here? What's the angle?
There must be something.
Were they okay with you bringing your own producer in, Dave?
Absolutely. That's what they want. It's a commercial studio. So, the interesting thing was that, a studio day is generally 10 to 12 hours when you're working in a commercial studio.
Mm-hmm.
And said, this price seems extremely reasonable for what the equipment they have there. And Neil said, yeah, they have one caveat. They want you to work an 8-hour day, and they'd prefer it for it to be banker's hours from 10 to 6. And I'm like, wow, that's weird. And I told Matt, our drummer, and he's like, perfect. We can go out for dinner and drinks every single night. So that's what we did. Like, it was very much, very, very social record, because we weren't working these extensive hours every night.
Great.
It's a new restaurant, and lots of port wine, and we had a blast, absolute blast.
So is that something that you want to carry forward, knowing that, look, we can do a record from 10 to 6 and it allows us to be fresh the next day? Why would we not keep that approach? Or is it something that was kind of a one-off?
I think that the thing that will carry forward is destination records. I mean, I just
All
can't
right.
imagine. I just
I
can't
love
imagine
that idea.
440 making a record at home again.
Yeah, yeah.
It
You
was
know
just
what?
too great experience. Like, what a luxury to what a luxury to go somewhere else interesting in the world, live and work for a couple of weeks. We walked that 45 minutes to the studio every morning through the old town, and it was just a really inspiring, fun way to make a record.
Oh, that's
That's
great.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how many cuts? How many cuts are on the record?
11 songs,
Okay.
11 songs, quite a riff rock record. Um, and again, like it was just changing up our not it wasn't just changing up our location, but also changing up our processes in a lot of ways. One thing that happened on this record that hasn't like I can't remember when this last happened, but my solos were all recorded live off the floor during bed. So they went down as the drummer is bashing away. We're all playing in a room. Usually with solos, I would come back here and work on the sound for a while and then like circle it and beat it into submission. Um, whereas this stuff was really like seat of your pants, being up there terrified. What comes out of you is what it is, and
Yeah.
Wow.
it was an exhilarating way of doing it.
Wow. That sounds like almost like it's got the energy of a live album, but it's got the sound quality of a studio production,
Yeah, very much
which is
so.
yeah,
I think it really sounds like a band playing in a room.
yeah. So we're talking about riff rock, and you're the guitar player. Um, were there any songs that, like, how some songs just have a definitive riff? That's a pretty good song, but the riff kind of makes it. It doesn't happen to every song. I'm just saying there are certain songs you hear the riff. It was a good song. Now it's an amazing song. Did you come up with a riff on any of those 11 songs that you were just so proud of? Like that made that song. Was there a
Yeah,
particular?
yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's quite riffy, and 5440 by its very nature is we are minimalist in a lot of ways.
Right.
Simple arrangements, three chords and the truth.
Yeah.
Um, you know, there's a song called "Time Will Tell," which is a lot of the band's favorite. I really am quite proud of the guitar parts on that song. But I think the guitar parts are nothing without a great lyric and a great melody and a great backbeat, great bass line, great chord structure. They all go in 5440. It's very much ensemble playing and writing, and the whole is greater than the sum of the parts in our approach.
Right.
Our early influences are, um, the band comes from being heavily influenced by British post-punk, and that by its very nature is a very minimalist medium. And I think that translates even when we're trying to write a rock song, or whether we're trying to write a country song, or whatever genre we're exploring the fringes of. Still, that initial influence of minimalist post punk is informing how we approach the parts.
Right. That's a really humble statement, and I appreciate it. I think that you're right. The whole outweighs the some of those small parts. However, and I don't want to go back to like everybody knows that, I go blind. That's the 5440's big thing. That's CF and G. And if you didn't have the walk down that you wrote, like that's the song, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not
Yeah,
taking away from the whole of the song, but what you contributed to the dun, 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 like that's the song. So, I know you're being very humble. I appreciate that, but there's some guitar stuff that makes the song.
I've had the
wow.
opportunity to hear the new album. As long as it hasn't changed since January 1, that's the copies that I was actually sent.
Yeah, that's it.
I would say like it's got that distinctive 5440 sound, but to me it does seem like there's been a progression from earlier music, and it's sounding really good. Like I don't know if it's about the lyrics or just the kind of where you guys are at as a band. But in terms of lyrics, I was just wondering, is there stuff that you guys just won't touch anymore. You've written about it to death. And now you just kind of focus on, you know, different subjects to pull from.
Yes. So Neil writes all the
question.
words.
Yeah.
And what he has told me about this particular record is that it's very much based conceptually on Jungian philosophy. And the other record in the band's catalog with that same theme is a record called Fight for Love from 1989, which is one of my favorite 5440 records. And he considers this record from a lyrical perspective very much a sequel to that record. Very much themes steeped in that
Interesting.
that philosophy.
I've got to go back and now listen to the 2 albums.
Yeah, I had to too.
Back. Yeah. That's yeah,
Or
that's
at the
interesting.
very least, bone up on Carl Jung's philosophies. We know what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to the albums back to back.
Yeah, maybe throw a little platonic dialogue in there too. Holy cow, this band's well read. I like that. That's awesome. So Dave, when can we expect? When's the follow-up tour for the new album? When are you swinging through Ontario?
Yeah, so 5440 last year had a banner year. We played 50 shows, made a record in Portugal. We were very, very busy. Finished the year off with a coast-to-coast tour with Foreigner, playing in the hockey rinks.
Yep.
And we're taking a well-deserved little break right now.
Oh, for sure.
While the record settles in. And then in June, we'll be back out on the road playing a few cuts from the new record, as well as I Go Blind.
Nice. I love that song. I just didn't want you to think like, oh, this is the only song that people ever talk about. No, I think that's fantastic. I remember the last time I saw you guys, you were playing in London. I think it's the London Music Hall or something like that.
Yep.
But yeah, that was a really great show. And I think you did it with Lowest of the Low. So it was a really great double header.
Ah, yeah, the
Low. If I recall correctly, that was
that's right. Yeah.
You know, the nice part about seeing really great Canadian bands, I don't know why anybody goes to stadiums anymore. You pay top dollar, you're 10 kilometers from the stage. The sound is absolute shit. But it's so nice when you go to a place like, Sonic Music Hall or London Music Hall, whatever, because maybe it's not all bands, but certainly 5440, Ron Hawkins and Lowest of the Low, I know those guys. Everybody's accessible, like within reason. You have to be polite, but you can certainly go up and talk to the guys, and it's such an intimate night. And you guys have always been very generous, at least what I've seen with your time and chatting with the people that came out. So I don't think that's par for the course with every band. So anyway, thank you for that.
The experience of being, in a smaller room with it loud and it pumping there's an intimacy to it.
Yeah.
That is, I love shows like that too.
Yeah.
Sure.
Andrew's been playing for 1 year and he's stopped talking to people. It's awful. He's gone right off the rails.
He's graduated from the hockey rinks already.
Yeah, he's got his 3 chords, and now it's like, hey man, how's it going? Fuck off. I know 3 chords and I play guitar. Oh, sorry. I apologize.
I got people you can talk to.
You have people?
You're my people.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I am your people. Damn it.
Exactly.
Dave, I don't know if you have had a chance to torture yourself and listen to Backstage Lowdown or other episodes. However, we end every episode with this very scientific process of a lightning round. And so we ask you deep questions like shoes or boots, and you have to pick one. And it is a very scientific way that we will get to know you in 10 questions. And so there's no wrong answers. But,
okay, how fast do I have to answer these questions? And if I don't answer them fast, do I
get
something?
No, not at all. I do like to draw people's attention to the lightning round aspect, because Andrew comes up with the questions. These are his. Well, I'll add a couple sometimes, but largely this is his baby. And he'll ask a question, and every once in a while you'll get somebody that, they sit back and
not every once in a while. Like it's probably one in three.
Like they really have to think.
Goes off into another story, and which is fine.
Exactly.
fine.
Do I
But you-
give Neil my Strat or do I send it to Lance? I just this is so ponder. Anyway,
you've built it up like you're judging me, though. Of course, I'm going to take.
Well,
this.
Of course,
yes, of course you're being judged. What are
judged.
you talking about? And then we talk about you after you leave. Are you
Yeah. What are podcasts for if not
Oh,
judging?
exactly.
exactly? There you go.
So
All
should we
in good
dive
fun.
in?
Absolutely.
I'm ready.
All right. So let's start with the guitar or start with the lyric.
I personally start with a guitar.
Clean tone or just on the edge of breakup.
Oh, just on the edge.
Oh, look who just got a Boss distortion pedal. Where did that question come from?
Okay. Write alone first or bring it in half finished to the band.
Right alone first.
The song that comes easy or the one that resists you.
You don't have to choose. You don't have control over that.
That's fair.
That's a good question, by the way. It sucks, but it's a good question.
Studio discipline or happy accidents.
Oh, I'm about discipline.
Trust experience or ignore it on purpose.
Oh, yeah, trust experience.
This, by the way, is the deepest lightning round. We've been doing this
Find
now for a
something
few
different.
years. This is going really
I thought I was getting shoes or boots.
Yeah, I know. I think I set you up. Does Dave need a couch? Holy
He
cow.
may.
Dave,
It's now
what's your
turned into a
relationship with your
therapy
mom
session.
like, Dave? I don't know. Holy cow.
Mom or dad?
Yeah. Yeah, mom or dad.
How about this one? A great part that no one notices or a moment everyone remembers.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Spotlight on me, baby.
That's right. Okay. Leave some mystery or say exactly what you mean.
Oh, from a lyric perspective, then leave mystery for sure.
Play to serve the song or push it somewhere unexpected.
Serve the song always. The song is king.
And last but not least, trust the band history or pretend you're starting from scratch.
Aha! Wow, that's a really good question. Both.
And that has been another episode of Backstage Lowdown.
I think Carl Jung would be proud of you. I think, or both of you. That was impressive. Wow.
Dave, that was awesome. Thanks so much for
Very
coming
welcome,
out
guys.
today.